Oh dear, we've caught a thief. Um, no, this is interesting. The series of options. It, it doesn't tell us what the outcome is going to be because we can basically someone stored something. We've got a choice of either cutting off the person's hands, or ordering someone else to cut off his hands, or just let him go and banish him. Now it doesn't say there's any restrictions, which is odd. Because I know when I did this in early access, this option, there were consequences. These two options, these do not go down well with the villagers because of the morale. But the trouble is, on the other hand, if you let them go and just let them off, well, the problem then is it's a case of you can lose things. So it's like, decisions. Well, I'm going to go with option 3 and let's see what the outcome is. We'll probably lose things in the process, but here we go. Yeah, so we've lost 3% of our crafting items. Yeah, so it says, but at least your inhabitants don't look at you as a tyrant. So that's the catch. You either lose some items or everybody starts disliking you and morale goes down and all sorts. Anyway, that's that done. Ah, so our heir has been born. So that's interesting. We've got to choose a name for our heir. Well, I think this time I'm going to go with... I quite like Ulrich. So this is going to be his name. So he's going to be called Ulrich. That's a little tight down there. So the thing is, Damrica, I mean, it's truth, actually, we're actually starting winter. I better put these things on, otherwise we're going to go through the same freezing that we did last time. So this time round we're up to 70% because I've got some trousers that I found next to the shore. Which reminds me, I may as well put Rasomir's hose in here because I don't need them now. I can't sell them for whatever reason. But it means now that little tyke's around, well, Damrica, well, she's not going to be working the fields. She's not going to be doing anything for the next 2 years except looking after him. Which means, well, we're going to have to look after all this lot. So, we've got some rye, which we've planted. If we go to, well, I don't have that. Well, actually, I'll just go into management, to be honest, that'll be easier. So, we did plant some rye, but it's not ready for harvest yet, which makes sense because it's the winter time anyway. So the only thing you can really do during the winter is to plant carrots, and at this stage I don't really need any. So that's quite a bit of a relief. I don't necessarily need anybody to do the farming in the winter. But I'm going to have to think, because in the spring it's either going to have to be me or it's going to be somebody else. Now, I've got all of this rot, so I've been dropping things like raw meat that we had in excess. Anything that wasn't around. Now that 1056 rot, which I probably can't carry. Yeah, ooh, just about. That actually is from the carrots. So we grew, I think it's 4 columns of carrots. And we got about 260 something, so that's where all the rot comes from. The rest has been, I think it was just raw meat, cooked meats, anything that I thought we just had too much of. I thought I'll just drop it and then we'll be able to produce more fertilizer. So it means I've now got 157 fertilizer. I would select them all to be done. So the plan is, I'm just going to get on with this. Now, I do have to think about the farming, but I think I'll pick that up in the next season, because what I'm really quite interested in doing is see if I can actually improve the morale of these villagers. Now, I admit it is the middle of winter, and the problem is I'm going to be basically kicking people out of their homes. But I want to run a little experiment because I want to find out what it's like. You know, if I boost somebody's morale, and there's different ways of doing it. You know, you can do upgrades of the building. So with a house, you can replace the panel when you actually build the actual house. You've got choices at the time of the build, so you can say I want a wattle wall, which is the default. I want a stone wall or a wood wall, and you should get better morale because you get better insulation. You can also actually add insulation to the walls as well. So it's a case of, I'm curious to see what the sort of differences are. I mean, one other thing to point out is you actually get more experience. When you're actually crafting things, you get experience. When you're building like houses, for example, you get experience. Now, if you build a stone wall, as far as I recall, you do get more experience than if you'd build it as a wattle wall. So there's a bit of an incentive to actually do all that at the start, but I'm curious to find out if I do genuinely get better morale depending on what type of walls I've got. So the plan is I'm gonna pick out 4 houses. One's just going to be the test one, which has just got the original wattle walls in them. I'm going to have to probably either buy a lot of clay or rather daub, because you can actually make upgrades. You can improve the insulation of things like wattle walls with daub. So it's just basically clay, a mixture of clay and straw. We can also have wood walls. We can also have stone walls. So I want to see how much the morale goes up depending on, you know, where somebody's living out of those 4 different houses. But also I want to see how much of an improvement we see in that person's production as well, because as far as I was, you know, aware, it's a case of the higher the morale, the more productive that person's going to be, which makes sense really when you think about it. I mean, otherwise there's not really much point having morale really. So it looks like we've almost finished our fertilizer. So that was all just through dropping things at the end of the season, all of that rot. So I'll put that in. So we don't have enough to make any more there. And I'll just leave that there. I mean, I could leave this fertilizer in the actual main storage area. There's no particular big deal, but I've got 3 houses here. And I think I've got 3 up here as well. Yeah, so all of those houses, they're all wattle walls, so you've got choices. I mean, if I go to my skills, let's see, we're a master of destruction. I'm trying to find the one that allows us to improve, that's it, handyman. So by having that handyman skill, it says we can improve the walls with better insulation. So if I get my hammer out, right click, and you can see one of the options is to upgrade, and you can see all of these little walls are now highlighted. So you need 8 daub to update 1 wall. That's the downside. As far as I recall, it's 10 clay per wall. If we go to the barn, you have to unlock that. Now you say, yeah, you need 10 clay plus 10 straw. That's going to be pretty expensive because you're looking at what, looking at about at least 8 panels by the looks of it. So there's 3 over there, 2 front and back, 3 on the sides. That's 8 panels. Yeah, some of them need 6, some of them need 8. So that's going to be a lot of clay. I mean, I've got a shovel to dig the clay up, but you'll only get so much, and it's pretty heavy as well. And I know somewhere between here and Gostovia, for example, there is actual clay deposits. There's some where Samrabor is. I think there's some around here. But we're talking about 10 clay just to make 1 daub. And you need 8 daub to make, just to upgrade 1 wall. That's got me a bit concerned now. I'm not sure if that's even worth my time, quite frankly. Let me just double check. Now it produces 10. So that might actually not be as bad as I thought. You do actually get 10 daub, so it's kind of a pain you can't make it, you know, just one piece. You've got to get 10 of them. So that means out of the 10 clay and the 10 straw, I'll get 10 daub, which is kind of odd, but it's probably worth doing. I think I might do that last though. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep this one as the... Well, actually, I think we'll keep ours as the test one since there's a baby in there. I'll end up turfing them into the winter, so that'd be a bit cruel. I mean, I feel it's bad enough I'm turfing these people out, but I think what we'll do is that this one's going to be get done with daub. This one will do with wood. Now, to do this one, what I'm going to have to do is actually knock the walls themselves down, which is a bit frustrating. I'm going to have to actually destroy the walls and then replace them with their wood equivalents. And it just means, yeah, Namir here, he's going to have nowhere to live while we're doing that. So I probably want to make sure I've got plenty of logs, for example. Then I think what we'll do is the hunter. I think this is the. Oh, this is for our lumberjack. I think Siegfried lives here. Oh, it's Agnes. Okay, fair enough. I stand corrected. So Agnes is she's the herbalist. So we're going to be kicking her out of her home. What I'm going to do for Agnes though is I'm going to convert her walls over to stone. Now I could convert the thatch roofs as well. There's different types of roofs you can build. But for the sake of experiment, I just want to keep it all simple. I want to do the least of it as possible just to see what sort of difference it makes. And then afterwards I'll probably upgrade the roofs because it makes a lot more sense anyway. But for the sake of this experiment, I just want to replace the actual walls. So what we're going to do, I think, is we'll start with this one. So that's our house. That's going to be the control one. No, ours is the control one. That's the daub. That's the wood. So we'll start with this one for our smith. We're going to knock the walls down, and then we're going to replace the actual walls with wooden walls. I mean, I could be a bit sympathetic, I suppose. I could move Siegfried. It's Namir, isn't it? I could move Namir in with somebody else. So the trouble is, they're all of similar age. Now, if I move, say, Namir in with Gertrude, for example, or Rosalinda, or Agnes, there's a chance that they might get together in that very short space of time, and the next thing I know, they're a couple, in which case I can't separate them. So, unfortunately, it just means I'm going to have poor Namir out in the winter. But I think it makes a lot of sense to gather as many logs as possible first to make this as quickly as possible. The stone, I hardly have any free stone in there, so I'm going to have to do a lot of searching for stones as well before we do Gertrude's house, I think it was, who's the herbalist. Oh, it's Agnes is the herbalist. I'll get used to these names one of these days. Yes, we'll do that one next. I can see me leaving that one till last just because of the fact I'm going to have to go and find a lot of clay out there somewhere. So yeah, I'm going to go and gather a lot of logs, and then I'll be back to rebuild this house. Right then, I'm making a note of how well we're doing at the minute with Namir living in this house that's just got wattle walls. I mean, he's producing about one of each item except for the hammer, which is 0.25. He's got 3 for his skill level, and his morale is at 6%. So I've gathered quite a few logs. So I'm going to start knocking the actual walls down, and I'm going to start replace them with wood ones. So the trouble is, as soon as I start knocking something down, it's a case of he's going to be out of home and he's going to start complaining. But yeah, it is what it is. So take these all. I may as well take all of them down in one go, to be honest. I'll end up overloaded, I suppose, but I should then at least start being able to produce a lot more. Right, so that's that done. So if I now go back into build, we're back to kind of where you're at when you're first building, because essentially we've got just the frame. I mean, we've got the roof, which I'm not going to change, but I want to change this one over to, let's see, so that's going to be a door. So press E. I want it to be a wooden door. So that's 4 logs. Right, so that's a window, so I want to change that to a wooden window. So that's another 4 logs. See, I'm going to need a lot more logs than this then. So these 3 are just all walls, so I'll change these over to just wooden walls. We'll try and get all those converted over. So that's a wooden wall. So Yeah, it's a lot of logs we need. I mean, I managed to gather quite a few. I gathered about 20. And I've got quite a few in the in that resource storage over there anyway. Right, so this is a wall and this is a window. So I'll change that into a wooden wall. We'll change that into a wooden window. So I'm running out of logs now already, so I'm going to go and take a quick dash and get some of them. But that's the difference, is that the actual buildings that people work in, you can't upgrade them. They're going to end up just getting completely replaced. There's no other option. Whereas the houses, at least you can upgrade them. I mean, you can put in better insulation, but you've also got a choice of literally replacing the walls if you want to. For whatever reason, we can't do that with these. I suppose that's why they've got the tiers. You know, you've got tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3. Whereas with the houses, you've got a simple small house and then a house. So there is some incentive to build those. They'll get more like capacity for people to live in, and they do seem to provide more morale, I've noticed. But at least we can upgrade even just this basic house that we've got. So these are all just walls, so I may as well do all of these while I'm here. So that's just a wall. And one thing I've noticed is if I keep the mouse held down and then start to move it, my hammer breaks. What I noticed is you can actually just keep the mouse held down, which is quite convenient. You don't have to actually stop doing what you're doing, just keep the mouse held down at all times and then just move the focus to, you know, the next panel, and it'll just carry on from where you left off. Now, if I build something in my hands, let's see if it repeats, because last time I did that, it went straight into that empty slot, so it automatically populates the slot, it seems, if your hand's empty. Or at least the slot's empty, I should say. Right, so there we go. So now we've got a simple small house, but it's wooden. So that one's our test one, our control building, and that's just wattle, whereas that's got wooden walls. They've both got the same thatched roofs. So what we'll do is, seeing as poor Namia's got no home, he's down to -4% in morale. That's not good. Right, so there's nobody living in there, so at least I know I can put him there. What I could have done is just gone and selected that option here, the actual little signboard what we've got, and then that would have told me who's there. So his morale is now going back up again. Now I'm interested to see how much higher it goes, because I've got to assume this is going to go above 6%. Otherwise this is a complete waste of time. I mean, crikey, Damricus is up to 35% now that she's got a baby. Oh, now that's useful, an excavation shed. Now that is tempting, because with an excavation shed you can use that to actually get somebody to mine stone, but also clay. Yeah, stone, salt, limestone and clay. Now the limestone, I know we can use that for insulating the stone walls. Clay we can use for the daub walls, and that's what I'm looking for. But I think it's going to take a bit of time before his morale goes back up. So in the meantime, I'm going to put all these bits and pieces away, because now we need to move on to that house. And that one's going to be stone, and I definitely don't have enough stone. I do need some logs, I know that. Usually each panel needs at least 1 log. Some of them need 2. I think things like the door frame needs probably like 2 logs and a certain amount of stone. So it's probably like 8 stone, 4 stone, maybe 6 stone for the window, but maybe 2 logs instead of 1. But I'm going to get a lot. I'm just going to gather a lot, because again, I don't want these people left out in the cold for too long. I mean, his morale didn't go down that much, down to -4, but out of curiosity, if I go over to the smithy, now that his morale is actually down, it hasn't changed anything in terms of that production capability, which is interesting. None of that information's changed. This is exactly the same. So even though his morale's pretty much very, very low. So that's curious, that. Anyhow, I need to go and gather a lot of stone. Slight change of plan. We're actually going to knock down the house for Siegfried. Reason being is that the work that Agnes is doing is out of season because she's a herbalist. She's actually gathering things, and well, it's the winter time, so she can't actually gather anything. So Siegfried, on the other hand, he's a lumberjack, so it'll be easy to do his. Now unfortunately he's got nowhere to live at all. I don't think he's going to be too pleased. Now I'm getting too heavy here. So if I go back to building, what I can do is I can change this. So what is it? It's a window. Right, so I want this to be a wall with a window and a stone wall with a window. So that was 6. Oh, okay, I can say I'm going to need quite a few logs then. So I managed to gather quite a bit of stone. That's why I'm a bit overloaded. So it's a stone wall with a door. I mean, although he's standing in the building, he doesn't officially live there. That's why he's complaining. Right, so if we go to knock that piece down, because I forgot to knock that bit down. Go back to building. So I'll edit that, change that into a stone wall. That's going to be a wall, it's going to be a stone wall. That's going to be a wall, it's going to be a stone wall. So yeah, I've only got so many logs based on what I've been destroying, because I do get like some resources back. But it'll be interesting to see, you know, like what sort of morale he's got compared to the others, because he's got the best of the houses you can get, at least the best of the simple small houses, I should say, because it's got much better insulation. It's also less wear and tear, which is better for us. Right, so means basically it needs less repairs, because that's it's another reason for doing this, is that you're gonna I didn't want to do that, so it's just a wall. Yeah, that's the other reason we want to do this, is that a stone wall is going to last a lot longer than, say, a wattle wall, and in which case we don't have to repair it as often. Although interesting enough, the game does actually now have somebody who can repair things. But that's like far off for us, as far as I can tell. It's very, very high technology requirements to do that. So I've almost got enough stone. So I'll just get on with this. I can see I'm going to have to gather some more. I mean, I do have some logs, but yeah, I was just too short. Crikey. Just have a bit of a peek around. There should be some around here somewhere. There's some there. I quite like that ability now that you can actually see where stones are. Whereas you couldn't do that before. Right, so I'm going to have to gather some logs, and I'm going to have to get something to drink, otherwise I'm going to lose my health. So I'll get that finished off. Probably give it a bit of a while to see how morale goes. And then I'm going to go in search of clay. Right, and so I've found a clay deposit. So that's, like I was saying before, is where it's kind of like part way from where our village is, all the way down to Gostovia. So that's pretty easy enough to find out. I notice actually someone's left a shovel here as well. But we just need to find a clay deposit. We need our iron shovel. We'll have to dig it up a few times. So each of those is going to get us 5 clay, it seems. So it seems we're going to have to go through 2 of these. Oh, you only got 2 clay that time. Oh, okay, so we're getting a different amount of clay each time. So it's not consistent. Now that's going to be interesting, because we actually need a lot of clay. We need 10 just to make 1 daub. So we can make 2 at the minute. And there's some being left behind by somebody digging the place up. And they've left a bronze shovel as well. Alright, I'm not seeing any other patches there. Let's see if we can find some more. So there's a bit more over here. Now there is a chance that you can actually find something in a clay deposit, and there is even a skill as well to improve your chances. But I've got a sneaking suspicion I'm going to have to do a bit of travelling and find some more clay deposits, because I don't think this is enough. I mean, I think I'm looking at about roughly 64 to do that house. It just seems to be luck as to how much I'm going to get from each clay deposit. 47. Yeah, we've got 50 in total. So how much is that? It doesn't weigh me down too much. But I'm going to have to go back to the village. And I'm going to have to unlock a schema that allows us to turn clay into daub. But I'm going to have to go in search of... Oh, that was the rabbit. I'm going to have to go in search of more sort of clay deposits, because we obviously need more than this as far as I can see. Well, I found some more clay deposits, so that's just kind of like northwest of where we're at, southeast of Bran, I guess. So I've put all the rest of it away because I don't want to run into a problem where I just can't carry it all. So yes, it seems to be kind of random as to how much you get from each clay deposit. Oh, somebody's running out of water. But, I mean, what you can do, there is a skill in here. That's one possibility as far as I'm aware, this careful miner. No, treasure hunter, that's it. There, that one there. It's a chance to find extra items whilst you're digging in clay pits. So that's a skill you could take out. And invest some points in that. But otherwise, I'm just going to keep digging away, because I think I should end up... Yeah, I've got 11 there, so that's probably more than I need now. So I'm just going to keep digging away here. And then what we're going to have to do is head back to base once we've finished this region up and I managed to dodge the boars, hopefully. And then we're going to make our daub, and then we'll test that out as a comparison. Well, there's another change of plan. It's a case of, well... While I was away, folks were running out of water, so morale's actually gone down quite a lot. In which case, what I'm going to do, I'm just having a look, and Gertruda, who's the hunter, her morale's back to 6 point... yeah, her morale's on 6%. Everybody else's was quite low in comparison, so I'm trying to get a sort of like a feel for like where the morale's going to go up to, and what sort of production we're going to see out of this. But I managed to get quite a lot more clay. But I also had to run in with a bow, hence the reason why the health's down. But I'm just gathering some straw, because that's something we need to make this daub. And that's just specifically for insulation, so it's a lot different from literally replacing the panels. We're just going to add this as an extra insulation. So I need to keep gathering all of these reeds, because it's going to be like 10... It was 10 clay to 10 straw as far as I recall. So I've got 70 clay. Can't do like individual, you know, just like one individual piece. You've got to do them in blocks of 10. So I'm gathering up all this straw so that we end up with 70 daub. Now, I suppose on the plus side, I'm going to end up with some extra experience out of doing this anyway by making this stuff. But I don't think it's going to be as good as, say, the wood, or as good, which in turn I don't think that will be as good as the stone. So just come over the workbench. I'm going to unlock that anyway. It's going to cost 50. Ah, no. Ah, right, okay. So, alright, yeah, that's 7. That's 7 of. Right, yeah. It's because it produces, each one of these produces 10. So we should end up with 70 in total. Fingers crossed. So, yeah, so that's produced 10. So we'll end up with 70 in total. So that should cover us, because that little house that we've got, it's a simple small house, I think it is, or a small simple house, but it gives us, I think it's about 66, I counted out, is what we need. But unfortunately we've just got to do it in this block of 10. Now you can see it's taking forever to do this sort of thing. If I was to get, say, like a barn worker in here and got them to do this, it would just take so much of their time to make this stuff. Even for us it's taking a while. So I'm not really sure what the incentive is for this, to be honest. I think I'd be more inclined to probably jump straight to the stone. I mean, they've made stone much easier to find, because in early access, pretty much it was round about. You could see it. I mean, you could see it easy enough if you turned the graphics settings down a lot. And you could see it much easier in the winter. Sometimes in the autumn. Spring was very difficult. As you get further on in the game, you can get stone much easier from like things like the excavation hut from the mines. To be honest, it's kind of a byproduct of digging in the mines. But anywho, we want to do an upgrade. So I've got a hammer out here. So this, I'll just double check. This is Gertrude's house. Yeah. So we're going to add this stuff to the walls. So you can see it's like basically just like putting mud on the actual on the wall. So that's supposed to provide better insulation. Because I mean, you think these are just sticks, so you know the wind's going to rattle through, and stands to reason why the morale's just so low. But I'm curious to see, because normally I just don't bother with it. I just go straight to stone. And now they've made it easy to find stone, I think I'd be more inclined to do it, to be honest. But it's a bit of an experiment, and I'm curious to see what the results will be. I'm a bit puzzled over the production, I must admit, because even when the morale was quite low, it didn't seem to go anywhere below my original settings that I saw. So I'm a bit puzzled, I must admit, because it's supposed to. If they've got more morale, they should be more efficient, and if they're more efficient, surely then we're going to get better production out of them. So I'm kind of like scratching my head at the moment. There's some sticks over there I may as well grab. Because the more gathering I do, the better, really. Because I'll get XP. I mean, the lumberjacks out there gathering like sticks and gathering logs, so they're getting some XP for us. But I don't think you get anywhere near as much XP from them as you'd get doing the work yourself. Just grab my log. It's one log. And we'll get a bit of XP just making the hammer. Right, so finish that off. So get the hammer out and Talbot switch over to upgrade. So where did we finish off? About there. Right, okay, so that needs 3 more. So we should have a bit spare. I mean, I didn't want to convert all of the clay over to daub, because one thing you can do is you can actually get whoever works in your workshop, you can get them to work on clay pots and all sorts, so you can sell that afterwards, so that's quite useful. Right, so where are we at then? So just for giggles, we'll have a look. So far, so Namia's topped out at 15%. So he's got the wooden walls. So the roofs are still thatch, but the walls for him are wood. So he's gone up by 9%. Now Siegfried's at 15% and he's going higher. Now he's got stone walls, so I'm not surprised at that. Now Gertrude, so far she's up to 9%. Now I'm going to be surprised if we hit 15%. Maybe 12, but we'll have to see. Now, what time is it? It's getting on a bit, so I think what I might do is just probably wait until the next day. May as well. It's not the last day in the year, so I may as well have something to eat. But I think I'll wait until the next day. I think I'll just gather things like stone for a few hours until it gets too dark, and then I'll go to sleep, and then hopefully all of those settings for morale have maxed out, and we can do a bit of a comparison. Now that's interesting, I must admit. Gertrude's morale has topped out at 10%, so by putting daub onto those, the actual walls that she's got with just the basic sticks, the wattle, her morale's now gone up to 10%. Namia, now we gave him wooden walls, so we completely replaced the wattle walls with wooden ones, and his morale's now up to 15%. Now Siegfried's up to 22%, and it's still climbing, so I'm not quite finished yet. But, I mean, you can actually upgrade these as well. I'll get my hammer out again. So go to upgrade. So you can upgrade these ones even further with daub. If you do the stone ones, you can upgrade. To upgrade those ones, you need limestone. So you can improve that morale even further. And you can see that one needs... So the actual wattle ones, these stick ones, they need daub, same as the wooden ones, whereas the stone ones need limestone. So it's a bit of a difference there. Interesting if you can't do anything with these buildings here. See, they don't highlight anything, so they'll deteriorate at the normal rate, and I can't do anything about it. I can't upgrade the actual, roofs. I can replace them and put in other ones if I wanted to, so that's probably another thing to do because it boosts them up. The only thing I'm curious about now is, I'm still waiting. Oh, his is topped out, so he's topped out at 23%. So out of curiosity, we go to... So Namir is the blacksmith, I believe. Yeah, Namir's the black. So Namir is the... Well, I'll go to the lumberjack. Gertrude to the hunter, because hers has only gone up 10%. So if we have a look at the lumberjack or woodshed, just to see how we're doing in terms of production then. No, I'm not seeing any change there. So the amount of production is exactly the same to me. Yeah, nothing's changed there. So even though we've improved her morale, it hasn't really achieved anything. So that's interesting. If we go to... So Namia, he's gone up higher than her. So he's at 15%. So he's gone all the way from like 6% up to 15%. So as far as the blacksmith or smithy goes... Now he's out of resources, which is a bit of a pain, but they would have been... yeah, that hasn't changed either, which intrigues me. So it says he's out of resources, so he's out of either sticks or probably sticks, I'd imagine. But if we then go to Siegfried, so Siegfried's the lumberjack. So if I go to the woodshed, now the woodshed's the same. It's intriguing. So he's still producing this, in theory, he's still producing the same amount as he did when his morale was back at 6%. So that's got me a bit puzzled. I mean, I might wait until the end of the season to see if it picks up in the next season. Maybe it's got something to do with that. I'm not sure. But otherwise, I'm just scratching my head trying to think, well, why would I want to improve the morale if it's not going to achieve anything? Sticks, we've got plenty of logs. I've got plenty of stone because I just dumped some in. We've got plenty of sticks, so why is he out of resources then? Let's go back to the blacksmith. Oh, unless that's because he was complaining last night. It's only because he's gone back in that he's now seeing them. But no, doesn't seem to be doing anything at all for some strange reason. But I mean, if you want to like improve the morale even further, I mean, it's a case of, well, yeah, we could put like more daub on these, but it kind of makes sense really to build the actual stone walls, put in the tile roofs instead, and that's about as far as you can get for like a house. Other than then improving the insulation by putting in the limestone. Now all of that would improve the morale. If you want to improve it even further, then we've got to be looking at another type of house. So at the moment we can build a simple small house and you can build a simple house. So if you build a simple small house for somebody and put them in that, their morale goes up more than it does in one of these little simple small houses. And it'll go up even more if you put them into a bigger house. But if you want to max it out, it looks like you want to actually get them into a couple, because when there's two people living together, the morale goes up higher as well. So I don't know if there's some like limit, because the kind of, the face is yellow if you see there versus green. So maybe you've got to push the morale above the certain limit to see any particular benefit. In which case I've got to start thinking about replacing the roofing as well. And I could probably do it for this one, but not the others. Because he's at about 23%. I think it was. So I think what we'll do is we'll replace the roof, because there's only 4 of them, but I need planks to push it all the way. There's 2 different there's 2 more different types of roofs that you can build. But how many planks have we got? Because I might have to make some on my own. It looks like we've got enough. It's usually about 12. Ooh, don't quite have enough. We're going to probably have to make some more logs, but let's grab some of these. I'm going to rip his roofs down next. Sounds a bit cruel, like I'm going to keep... He's probably just minding his own business. Next thing you know is his house keeps getting knocked down. So this is... Let me just double check. Yes, this is Siegfried. So at the moment he's at 23%. So we're gonna knock the thatch roofing down. I mean, I don't have any limestone to boost it any further. Let's switch back to building, so we'll change that. So you've got a choice of wooden roofs or wooden tile roofs. So you need planks for that and for that. It's just this one needs a lot more. So I can build that. I can get those... Oop. I can get those converted over to plank roofs, or wooden tile roofs I should say, and then that should cheer him up a bit more. Although obviously I'm going to have to put him into back into this building, because I assume that the fact that I haven't changed the roofing, he probably might not be living here anymore. Oh yeah, up in the top left corner it's actually telling me that I've got one person's got nowhere to live. Right, so change that over a tile one. So I need some more logs and I need some more planks. Now I can actually make the planks myself because we've got the wood shed. So it won't take me too long to sort that out. But I'm just going to keep... Oh, change that. I need to finish this off. And I'm going to have to wait. I'm going to have to basically get some more planks, get some more logs. And I'm going to have to wait for his morale to then go back up again once I've put him back in. So it'd be interesting to see what sort of difference that makes then. Well, I'm still keeping an eye on Siegfried because his morale's still going up. He's up to about 31%, so he's now got like a smiley face now, so he's in a more cheerful mood. But if we go over to management, so he's the lumberjack. If we go over to the woodshed, if we go to our little productivity here, these figures haven't changed, so he's still churning out the same amount of logs, sticks, firewoods and planks. Nothing's actually changed just because of the fact we've made him happier. The happiness seems to affect whether someone's going to leave, basically. The only way that's going to get any better, where we end up with more production, is when that skill level starts going up. Just boosting the morale alone doesn't cut it. So it does make sense to get somebody who's got that maxed out level 3. That's about the maximum you can get. Whenever you go and recruit somebody, you're going to get level 3. So it's kind of slowly ticking along. I mean, if we go to like Damrika, who we started off with originally, I mean, her farming's just been going through the roof compared to these others. Because Gertruda, who's a hunter, so she's all the way up to here. I mean, we hide Siegfried not that much longer yet. Look at how far back his extraction skill is. The cook, she's doing slightly better. Angus, who's the herbalist. Agnes. So her skill isn't going up that particularly fast. And Amir, now his production skill is going up faster than Agnes's, skill and survival is. Although to be fair, she's out of commission during the winter anyway. She can't really do anything during the winter. But yeah, it just shows you. It's interesting actually. I've just realised Ulrich there. He's actually got a level 4. He's got level 4 in survival. You can get much higher levels than this when you've got kids. I've noticed they can end up with some interesting high levels. But yeah, you can certainly boost these morale. I mean, I could push it up like I was saying before with if I keep like adding limestone, for example, to those walls. It'll make them more insulated, and his morale will go even higher. If I move someone in with him, his morale will go higher still. If I build a bigger house and put him in that, it'll go higher still, but it's not affecting the production. So that morale only seems to be impacting whether the person's going to stay or leave. Now, it's got to be very, very low to justify getting them to leave. But I mean, all the same. I mean, go and have a look and see. I mean, he's got a smiley face there, so I'm just curious. Does he actually have a smiley face? We're going to see an actual woodcutter or a lumberjack with a smiley face. So I don't think so, but you know, it's always worth trying. Nah, it doesn't look any more cheerful. It says on here he's cheerful, but I'm not seeing that. So we're up to 32% and still climbing. So I think all the same, I'm inclined to basically upgrade. I mean, I could upgrade these, but my plan is to build another village somewhere else anyway. So I think I just might leave those as is. Now the challenge I've got now is the fact that Damrika's she's out of commission basically for another 2 years until Ulrich reaches 2. And so I'm going to have to find somebody to look after the fields here. So I'm going to have to build another house for somebody to live in and get them assigned to the fields. But I'm tempted to get somebody in to start looking after pigs as well, because we could do with making our own manure. We produce quite a lot of fertilizer from the rot, at least twice a year. But I could do with somebody who's going to be dedicated to pigs, for example, because then I'll be able to get more production technology and farming technology, I should say, because you get that from people working on the pigsty or the hen house, for example. Well, I just realised I've got some extra points and skills because I've been going out and about making things and gathering things. So I think we'll just max out our crafting skill there. We'll add another one into cooking, because all these ones do, they just speed things up. And then you get into these ones where we can chop things down faster, for example, build things without our stamina run out so quickly. But yeah, it's more the experience I'm interested in. Anyway, winter's almost ended, so we'll be going into spring, and I mean, I've got a reasonable amount of money. I mean, tax-wise, we need to pay 571, so we're okay for tax. I've got quite a lot of flaxseed. I've noticed a lot of surplus flaxseed, because this time round we did an entire field. It's only 10 by 10, but it still produced a lot of flax. But I think next spring I've got to really find somebody. I mean, I'll probably have to do some work in the field myself to get things going, because I've got to make sure that everything's planted. But then we need somebody to then start looking after the field, and also we need to start thinking about getting our own pigs. But that's all for another episode.